So like when they do come to me, let's say I'm on the train and I'm thinking about something, I'm dwelling on it. I'm like literally like, oh, this is about to be so fire. Like everything in my head is like, yo, this is gonna be perfect. Like I'll get chills about it.
Yeah.
I'll write about it. I'll be like, nah, like once I get the chance, this is the first thing I'm gonna do.
Wagwan.
Que lo que, mi gente?
Welcome to the
Message to You podcast,
where we casually have
not so casual conversations
on topics that force us to keep it real
with ourselves and those we are around.
Our mission is to shed light on
The importance of embracing your true self,
being okay with acknowledging quirks,
workable flaws, and accomplishments.
So if you're into business,
all things creative,
personal growth, and life hacks,
then you're in the right place. Let's go.
Let's get it. Mic check 1 2 1 2.
Yo,
Mic
yo,
check,
yo.
1 2 1 2. All right, cool. What's that? Oh, me?
No, me being so loud and you being.
That's me? I thought, no, this is me.
That's you. This is me.
Enough.
Okay, cool.
All right, cool. Bada bing,
What's
bada
up,
boom.
y'all?
Welcome back to another episode. I hope you guys enjoyed the last one, by the way.
Yes, and if you guys don't know who we are, this is a social proof.
Can you imagine?
This is not social proof. This is actually the Message to You podcast. I'm Jen.
I'm Felicia.
Do you never say?
I don't know my name clearly.
Right. And we're happy to be here.
Yes, very much so. Before we get started today,
Yes.
Random question or how are you? It's giving.
How are you? How are you?
Yeah, that's friendly.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the
How
nicer
are you?
route.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm feeling a lot better than last week.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm back in, well, I'm just now getting back into the groove of things.
Yeah.
But I'm okay.
Good. Okay doesn't always mean like that you're amazing.
I feel like I'm still like trying to kickstart stuff up. Like I'm still getting used to what it feels like to be alive.
Yeah.
And live life again and be outside and but I don't know, I'm just taking it day by day. I don't feel amazing. I don't feel
down.
like, I don't feel down.
Okay, cool.
And you? How are you?
Fair enough. I feel like I'm well. I also feel the same way. It's like kind of annoying because I feel like we both be in the same kind of realm, so then we give similar answers, but
it makes sense though.
It does. But genuinely I feel good. Right now I'm tired and it's freezing and it's been like freezing rain, it's been snowing, it's been doing whatever it wants to do, and the cold is not really my favorite, but
it's not mine either.
So realistically I'd like to be on a beach, but I'm good.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you want them to know this, but anything special coming up for you?
Yeah, I'm actually going to see one of my favorite people, my cousin, in London. So I'm super excited because there's a new addition to the family. I have a niece, my goddaughter. So I'm super, super excited to meet her. This girl is so beautiful.
No, she's the cutest thing on planet Earth.
Oh my gosh, her eyes, everything. So I'm very excited about that. So yeah, aside from it being cold here, and then I'm also going somewhere that's also cold and gloomy sometimes, I'm thankful to be able to do that. Like I'm really looking forward to it because I missed her, and I want to meet my niece.
Right.
Yeah.
That's gonna be
and
exciting.
The rest of my family, of course.
But that's a given.
Right.
So a birdie told me that you had a random question.
Duh. Okay, cool. Let me see. I have a list. Don't look. Let me see which one I'm about to choose today. Yeah, I think this is what it's going with. All right, what's the most sus thing that you've ever ironed?
Ironed? I cannot stand ironing.
Yeah.
Ironing. What is the most sus thing that I've ironed? My undergarment? I don't know.
Under what?
My underwear?
Yeah. Undergarment.
What's an undergarment?
Undergarment.
Oh, garment. Whatever. English is not very good looking all the time.
That's a fact.
I guess that. How about you?
My socks.
How's that? I can imagine it being warm, nice and
Yeah,
toasty.
it was really because my socks got wet, and then
Oh.
I didn't have access to like a dryer at the moment, and then those are the only socks that I brought with me. So
iron
I
it
was
is.
like, yeah. They were still a bit damp, so
Ugh.
it's very gross.
So warm but wet.
Very, very gross, yeah. But the iron did help a lot. Also, I've ironed curtains before.
Mm-hmm.
A little. It sounds.
I feel like. Yeah.
It sounds weird, but it's like you don't want to have crinkly curtains up.
Yeah.
So like, if it has to be done, it has to be done. I mean, I guess some people would steam it, but if you don't have a steamer, you kind of just iron it.
Did you do that or your mom did that?
I did it. My
okay.
mom would also.
I was gonna say I feel like that's definitely something your mom would do.
That would
also.
be the first thing that she would do. Yeah. She wouldn't mind. I was actually like kind of annoyed, and I was trying to like hang out the curtains first to see if it would just the wrinkles would just go away, but it wasn't happening, and so I had to. But like, it was just, I feel like the range of motion for my arm was just a bit too much, and I wasn't loving the process. But
you know, some people find ironing therapeutic. Like there are a lot of people actually.
Yeah.
That's just one of those things that not for me.
Same. I'll just change my whole outfit.
Yeah, but I would love for someone to. I mean, if you're into that, to iron my stuff, because
100%.
no, honestly, because honestly, when it's like your clothes are pressed, I mean, it's not like we'd be walking around crinkly as ever,
Right.
but sometimes you just feel crisp and it's also warm, right?
Yeah.
When you put it on. And that's the best feeling ever.
It is.
When it's toasty and just fresh and smells good and ironed, like, no, you're unstoppable.
Right. It's a fact. I think that sometimes if something's not ironed and then I just completely change my outfit, like, it might just go back in the wash so that it's not.
Like, even if you didn't go out with it?
Yeah. It doesn't happen all. I feel very judged right now.
No, but you must
like
love doing laundry.
The blank stare. No, it's not like everything in my entire
but like
and my entire chest of drawers, like if it's wrinkled, it's going back. Like sometimes if it's just really bad and I just haven't been able to bring myself to, iron it. This sounds like very non-eco-friendly, so I'm just gonna leave that there
before they be up in the comments
like cancel her, she doesn't care about the environment.
No.
Okay, yeah, that was our random question.
That was a good question.
Thanks. I want to know what you guys, what the most like sus thing you guys have ever ironed is. I don't know, what would you guys say is worse, the socks or the curtains? I feel like the socks, because curtain kind of like makes sense to me.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
Right? But what were you about to say? Sorry.
I don't remember, but it's okay. Oh, that these questions that you be throwing at me be scaring me sometimes.
Why?
Because I don't know. Like, I just be like, oh, what is it today?
Yeah.
And, I just be having to think on my toes, like, okay.
That's the thing. That's what it's about.
I mean, but it's also like, if you're just truthful.
Yeah.
Then you don't have much to worry about. But it's like choosing. Wait a minute. I just did a transition. It's about choosing the right answer because you're looking for the perfect one.
You're smart. You're like the smartest thing
we did
ever.
that.
You're like,
okay. I like that one. I'm that smart.
You're that smart that it just took my breath away.
I like that. Thanks.
Wow. I like that.
And I like that. So with that being said, that might have sounded like a lot to you guys. But with that being said, today's topic is...
perfectionism.
Yes. Perfectionism.
Are you a perfectionist, Jen?
I can be.
Okay.
I can be, but once... Okay, so yes.
But do you think that everyone can be then?
Yeah.
Or would you say that it's like an overall personality trait? Like an overall... Yeah, an overall like personality, like disposition.
Maybe. Yeah. Sometimes when I think when people are, I don't know, it could come from so many places though. That's the thing. I think when I become how do I say it? When I think about perfectionists, I don't always think of like the most extreme, like, is this or absolutely nothing, because I try not to be like that. Sometimes when I think perfectionist comes from caring. Yeah, I could be a perfectionist, but I know where it comes from.
Yeah.
And I try not to be all the time.
Yeah.
But I think that it's beneficial sometimes.
Yeah.
That's the point I was trying to make.
Yeah.
How about you?
I get that. Yes.
Yeah.
I want to say that I don't like to consider myself. I don't like to say I'm a perfectionist. Like, I have said it and I have consistently said it, but now that we're on the topic of it, I feel like naming or claiming one title on the very extreme end, I feel like that's always problematic.
Yeah.
It's like, then that gives you no room to be considered as anything else. Like, if you do have days where you're not that perfectionistic, then it's like, no, but you're still a perfectionist, so obviously you did this because you want it to be. Or like, there are certain things that with yourself and also with other people, you never get any leeway when you choose to identify as something specifically.
Right.
But I think we can define perfectionism. So the dictionary from Oxford Dictionary says perfectionism is the refusal to accept any standard short of perfection, which does not really simplify the idea at all.
Yeah.
So perfectionism in psychology is a broad personality style characterized by a person's concern with striving for flawlessness and perfection, and is accompanied by critical self-evaluation and concerns regarding others' evaluations.
So that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
I don't think necessarily for me it's regarding others' evaluations.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's because I care about the work that I'm putting out, but I also know that perfection is not a thing. You know? So many things are subjective. It's literally like what your image is and yourself, you being you being critical to yourself.
Yeah.
And like and your evaluation. So like when you know that you can do better, sometimes you beat yourself down about it, or you like don't post something, you don't publicize something because you know that you can do better.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's better just to post it.
Yeah.
I think being a perfectionist limits you so much, and I don't know if the word's prohibit. It just slows you down when you're trying to like move forward and progress.
I can relate to that. I think that I sometimes don't care. Sometimes I hear myself overthinking things in my own head, and then I'm like, what are you doing? Like, do you actually, when it boils down to things, care about this? Or is it that you care that someone out there might not like this? Because there's going to be one person, there are going to be two people, maybe 3, 4, it doesn't matter the number, but do you personally like this?
Right.
And then when I get down to that, then I'm like, I do, and I said what I needed to say, or I created what I needed to create, and now I need to accept that and just, like, put it forward.
It can be damaging to your self-esteem. It could be damaging to the progression of your work. It can be it could just slow a lot of things down. But that's why I was saying it's kind of like a fine line between just caring a lot because you understand your full potential. You understand, or maybe you like visualize something in your head, but it's not coming out the way you are picturing it. And then you just not completing it because it's just not coming out the way you want.
Yeah.
Not knowing that, like we always say, you producing something, how that could possibly affect somebody else.
Yeah.
How that can like maybe change somebody's lives. That sounds crazy and wild, but it's real life.
Yeah.
Like because you chose to be a perfectionist, because you chose to not complete the tasks that you wanted or create whatever it was that you were trying to create, you didn't post, and then someone might have needed that,
Right.
and it didn't reach someone's eyes who that could have been helping right then and there. But then it's also like, do you do things for others, or do you just do things for yourself?
Yeah. And I think that's what, like, it boils down to your intention. So is your intention to provide value to others? Is your intention to please others? Like, providing value to others and pleasing others is two different things. So, or at least I think it is. Like, providing value is something that's gonna be able to help them change or elevate their lives or inspire them in any type of way. Whereas if you're doing things to just please others, you kind of just want to pacify and, like, itch a scratch that they have.
Yeah.
So basically, I wanted to ask, like, do you feel like there's a difference between perfectionism and just being very particular, or do you feel like it's like the same thing just on different levels?
I don't like this answer, but both. But what do you mean by being particular about something? So, like, you just like certain things?
Yeah, so, like, you were saying for you personally, like, you care a lot. So when you care a lot, you're going to want things to pan out in a certain way. You're going to put a certain level of energy into it. And it's not necessarily that you care about what other people think. It's that you really want to make sure that the message that you're trying to put out there is being portrayed properly.
Yeah, because I think ideas come to me in passing, like, very passively. So, like, when they do come to me, let's say I'm on the train and I'm thinking about something, I'm dwelling on it. I'm like, literally like, oh, this is about to be so fire. Like, everything in my head is like, yo, this is gonna be perfect. Like, I'll get chills about it.
Yeah.
I'll write about it. I'll be like, nah, like, once I get the chance, this is the first thing I'm gonna do, because I become very passionate immediately, like, once the thought comes. And then when I'm sitting in front of it and it's not coming out the way I imagined it, I'm like, okay, no, I can't put it out, because I'm like, it's not gonna give the same effect as how I imagined it. And I know that I'm capable of at least getting a little closer to what I envisioned in my head. So it's also like, I don't want to just put things out because you should just put things out. It's like, no, I need to put things out with intention, because the way how this made me feel, I know that it can help someone else. Like, I would love for someone else to experience this. This is like kind of similar to when we send each other videos on, like, TikTok or whatever, and we're like, no, I can't keep, or even when anybody posts something, it's like, you don't post it because, I mean, you may post it because you like it, but you know that someone else is going to laugh at it or is going to enjoy it. Like, you know, there are other like-minded people on the other end that is really gonna, like, receive from them something from what you posted, a message, a laugh, a whatever it is. So you kind of just want to articulate it in such a way that they receive it as closely as possible as how you took it or how you felt. So yeah, I think you could, like, it's partly like being particular, but there is levels to perfectionism. And maybe the lowest level might be being particular, like, I don't know, and then being, like, anal, you know, like, just very, is this or nothing, or I'm not doing this, or like, I tried it, it didn't come out, throw in the garbage and forget about it. Like, I don't really know, you know? What do you think about it?
I would say, one, I definitely have had that problem of, like, being like, unrealistically perfectionistic. Going to the gym for me is early in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
Has to be early in the morning. If it passes 8 o'clock, 8:30
a.m.
I'm like,
y'all, a.m.
Yeah, I'm like, what? The gym? That's not happening today. And I realize I'm like, I know that that's a problem. It's so irrational. Like, like, if I have another moment in the day to go, I might still be like, it's so late now.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not the ideal time to work out, so why even do it?
Yeah.
And there are obviously times where I'll still go, or I have still gone, but ideally, that part of my brain that wants everything to work out the way that I want it to work out is like, you're gonna be up at 4:50 and you're gonna be at the gym by the latest like 5:15, and it's just, it doesn't always work like that. And I have to keep telling myself, like, you cannot be that rigid.
Yeah.
Like, in other areas of things, I'm not like that. But
Yeah.
when it comes down to that, it's like, it's so hard for me to break that mold. So, like, my question is gonna be, I don't know if I fully answered, being particular. Being particular versus
Is there levels?
being particular makes it sound like it's situational, whereas, like, if someone says that they're overall a perfectionist, then that makes it sound like it's all
It's
the
across,
time. It's
like,
a constant thing.
yeah.
And when you say you're very particular, then it's like, I'm very particular about my work.
Yeah.
I'm very particular about my cleanliness or whatever the situation might be. But then you don't necessarily consider that person to be a perfectionist, but it could just be like, oh, I don't know, that person's funny about their food.
Right.
So that's my answer to that. But I wanted to ask, like, do you feel like these things are like learned, or do you feel like it's like an innate kind of thing?
I think it's because I don't know where I learned. I don't know. Do you have an answer to that? I'll think about it.
Yeah. I think it's half and half.
Yeah.
Like, nothing is always black and white, so it's like, it's kind of difficult when we say both.
Because that's what I'm about to say, both.
Yeah,
but it's the truth. That's how I feel.
People don't like to hear both, but, like, realistically, we have to understand that there's a gray area in so many things, and we just have to kind of flow with that at whatever season it's in. So I think part of people having, like, very particular tendencies has to do with upbringing, environment,
yep.
Sometimes trauma, sometimes just like what you were surrounded by, sometimes it's cultural, it could be so many things. And then, what did we say? Innate versus learned. And then sometimes it's just that person in particular. They just have
That's
that
just
about
how
them. There's so many people who, like, their family members don't have, like, OCD about anything. They're very laxed. And then you have that one person that is like, no, that drives me crazy, and I need order. I need this. I need that. And I think for me personally, I think some of it is innate.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I think for me personally, it was also, I guess, something that was learned, like you said, with upbringing and my mom, both my parents being in the school system.
Yeah.
And also attending elementary school while my mom is a teacher at that school. It was like a lot of pressure and like getting good grades, and then knowing that my teachers are friends with my mother, or they could speak to her whenever, or like just growing up in that, it was a lot of pressure to just always have straight A's.
Yeah.
Did I? No.
Yeah.
Like, and that's just the reality of it, so eventually I just became comfortable with, okay, don't, like, this pressure is just not healthy.
Yeah.
It's just not, it's not healthy. It's not, I don't want to say realistic, because if you work hard, you can get, attain those grades or whatever, but no, like, so I feel like that was a pressure from a young age. And then maybe that somehow translated into me pressuring myself.
Yeah.
Then going into middle school, then I tried, my hardest on my own, and just like really aiming for the higher grades and really striving for these things. And then I think those things just kind of trickle down to other aspects of your life, as far as like work ethic, as far as just a lot of different things, how you create, how you work. But I don't know, but they're not necessarily like perfectionists.
Yeah.
They kind of just like go and figure it out.
Yeah.
Go and figure it out. So that's why, but I feel like I've also learned that too. So yeah, I think a lot of it is also innate.
I think for me, the innate aspect is similar, not the same, but it's similar, where, like, I feel like my parents' expectation was for you to just do well. Like, I don't think anyone's parents really expected them to just go to school and just not do well anyway. Yeah. But I feel like people internalize it differently. Like, everybody takes it in differently. Some people are like, okay, my parents will be proud if I do this, so that means that I have to work extra hard to make sure that I maintain this level of whatever, because this equals intelligence, and intelligence equals my parents being happy. Like,
Yeah.
I think everybody's equations in their heads for how things, like how people respond to things, or how people important to us respond to things, it just shows up in different ways. Like, I think our equation in our heads is probably similar. I used to go to school and then do really well, and then sometimes if I got like an 80, I would be crying. And then my dad would be like, "Do you know that that's really good? Like, regardless of how you feel about it, like that's actually pretty good."
Mm-hmm.
And then my mom would be like, "That's." My mom would also have the same type of energy. And they would ask me sometimes, like, "Who told you that that's bad? Or did you think that we were going to be upset with you?" Like, they would ask me stuff like that. And then it would be like, I didn't really have an answer. But for some reason, I think that equation in my head kept being like, this plus this equals this, and it has to equal this. And this, like, it's like how you interpret things. And now it's very different. Now looking back on it, I'm like, wow, that was a problem. It was a real life problem. But now I'm like, it also encouraged me and pushed me to just stay on top of certain things. And like, there were certain times where, because my parents had that level of cushion where they were like, yeah, you don't need to be that way. You're actually doing well. Or sometimes things are not always going to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I think because they gave me that balance while I was like on the other extreme end,
right, of the spectrum.
Right, not that. I would then like now I feel like I'm like, okay, that's not my strongest suit. I can work towards being better at that, but that doesn't mean that I'm gonna really like always excel at it. And that's okay. Like, having a lot more grace with yourself, because they also did the same thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's helped me like unlearn like that. I guess, can you unlearn something that's innate? Because I was gonna say, I feel like that's helped me unlearn,
I think so,
the innate
yeah,
drive that I had to be like,
yeah. And it's something like you could just work on.
Yeah.
I feel like we don't always just have to stay the way we are because that's just how we are.
That's
true. It's in us.
That's true.
You know, you could also like work towards changing things about yourself. But I was gonna say also, doing well just feels good.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, I remember when I actually worked very hard to pass a test to get a 90 and above, and you got that test back and you got a 90 and above, it was like, oh, wow. So hard work does pay off, right? Huh? You know, this is not actually just a thing that you just say. And you can feel like, specifically on a test, you can feel when you're like, wow, this feels better than being so stressed out and being like, oh my gosh, nobody talked to me. And then everybody's like, right before the exam starts, everyone's like talking about answers. So now you're like, wait, what are you talking about? Yeah. You know, like you're being swayed in all kinds of ways, and you're not trusting yourself. Now you're like, wait, did I even study the right test? Or what are you talking about? And now you're psyching yourself out. Yeah. But it's because you weren't prepared. Yeah. So I feel like that's a very important aspect to, I don't want to, I guess that's not perfectionism, but like caring. Yeah. Actually caring. Because now you pass the test, that's one less thing you have to worry about. Yeah. When you fail tests or you get like kind of semi or in between, now you have to make sure that the next test, did it stop?
Mm-mm. Oh, yes, it did.
You're backwards. We should do that to each other. Like this. Oh. That was not good. Big yikes. Taking a test, you know, if you just do well or the best that you can, you stress a lot less in the long run. Yeah. You can stress, quote unquote stress, or like just prepare for what you have to do the way you know you should in the moment, so that later on you don't have to worry about certain things. People who are too lax into this and to that. Now, some people are just naturally get stuff, so they don't have to like to study. They don't need to feel stressed. Like they can just, a lot of people just the class and the lectures are enough for them to like pass the test.
Right.
You know, they may like skim through right before and then they're good, but not everybody's like that. So
Yeah.
for the people that, you know, actually have to put in a little more work, putting in the work counts.
Yeah.
And I think that comes with not being a perfectionist, but
Caring,
like,
as you said.
yeah. So
Yeah.
just caring about something. And I feel
Yeah.
like that's the form of perfection that, or being a perfectionist that can be healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I feel like caring takes some level of like vulnerability though, because like
Yeah.
for whatever reason there's something that's like going on right now in the air that's like it's not cool to care, or it's okay, or people feel a lot more comfortable with like being a savage or seeming like they don't care about stuff that they should care about. And that's definitely a defense mechanism. And sometimes perfectionism is also a defense mechanism.
Yeah, true.
Like, caring in itself is 100% like key to just excelling at stuff. But then, like, to what level are you gonna allow it to drive you to? So, like, some people will feel the care and then they'll reject it and they'll be like, I don't like this feeling. It's making me feel something that I'm not loving. So then they'll go the route where they get cold, and then some people will care and then it'll be like obsessing and be like, oh my gosh, no, because I care, it has to be this way. And then there's obviously that gray area where we have the people in between, or the moments that we're all in between. But it's like, again, like we always talk about this, but finding that balance where caring just means that you can meet yourself where you're at, push yourself a little bit more, you know, each time, but being okay with the fact that you're a human.
Yeah.
Being okay with the fact that it's not always gonna be a walk in the park, flowers, daisies. Like, it's gonna sometimes be a little rough. And caring, it's gonna equal failure sometimes. Sometimes it's gonna equal hurt. Sometimes it's gonna have its bite back. But then at the same time, because you care, people notice that and they resonate with you so much more.
Yeah.
Like, humans are beings of like energy and connection. So it's so important for us to realize that when we do stuff, when we're doing things with intention, people feel that.
It's true. It's true. And this brought up a question.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, based off of how someone looks, like their outer appearance, do you feel like you can tell what range of perfectionist they are? Like, not range, like what
Part of the spectrum.
Part of the spectrum.
Perfectionistic
The perfectionist.
spectrum. Yeah.
Yeah, spectrum. Can you tell how they, like, what they could possibly be? Can you make an assumption?
So like if somebody's dressed like super clean cut,
And exactly.
I feel like it's hard. That's hard
To
tell because there are some people who like you catch them on some days and they put a little more effort into their outfit on those days, but that doesn't mean that they're always like, I have to have the cleanest fit.
So they might fall
like
70
in between.
In that like the scale is 0 to 100.
Yeah. Right.
I feel like you can. Wait, did you finish your thought? Finish.
I think I'm done.
No, I don't think you're done.
No, I don't remember.
No, please.
No, I don't remember.
Okay, so I think like somebody like that.
Yeah.
Like if you describe them to me, somebody like that would probably fall in like a 65, because you don't necessarily know. And like we were saying, you can be a perfectionist in many different aspects of your life. So it's also like, to be fair, what are we talking about?
Right.
Like, are we talking about school? Are we talking about cleanliness, like you said? Are we talking about, you know, I guess hygiene is kind of the same thing as cleanliness, or like, you know,
your craft,
or even like, what does your room look like?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like sometimes those are things that I do think those are pointers. Those are little like clues as to how that person is.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if I see someone walking around looking very distressed, just like very
you
like
calling people distressed looking every time. It gets me every single time.
Just like very wild and just not smelling the freshest, but they'll be mad smart or something like that. Like, are they perfectionists?
Yeah.
Maybe in some aspects. Yes, maybe in some aspects, no. Or maybe they're just one of those that they don't care, and work and stuff like that just comes natural to them.
Yeah.
I just feel like, I guess the answer is no, you can't really tell.
Ever. Yeah.
But I feel like you can put people in a little like spectrums.
Yeah.
You could put, I mean, in ranges.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know.
I feel like that's hard though, because I think like even down to somebody who has a very clean room, or not clean but a very organized room, like they have their drawers have drawers, like their containers have containers,
Like
everything
OCD.
right, everything has a placement with a label on it. Those people, like, they could be a perfectionist, but then so could the person with a very messy room at the moment. Like, I feel like I know a lot of people who are perfectionistic, but their rooms get really crazy when they're working on stuff, or their rooms get really crazy when they're super busy. And that doesn't mean that they're any less of perfectionism, but I feel like because with being that a perfectionist, I'm just trying not to say the word so many times back to back, but with that comes sometimes so much chaos in your brain because you're trying to make everything so clean, everything so like to the T, that everything outside in your environment just becomes crazy.
It's true.
Yeah.
But they have aspects of perfectionism.
Yeah. A pro would be the fact that you actually care.
Yeah.
The cons is that perfectionism can actually drive you crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And with perfectionism, that gives you no leeway for like mistake, or to actually be a human, to actually like relate to people sometimes. Yes, it is amazing to like take pride in the things that you do, but then when it comes at the expense of like your ability to just slow down or just put something out, because with perfectionism a lot of the time comes procrastination. Why was it so difficult for me to say procrastination? Yes, a lot of the time it comes with that, and then that just holds you back from doing everything. Some of the most productive people are not perfectionists, and they just put things out. They just do stuff.
Yeah.
Even if they're not in the most perfect state, even if they are struggling at the moment, they look crazy, they don't have the best equipment, they have whatever, they still do it. And then they just keep doing it and doing it and doing it until it gets better. And then the perfectionist is still like writing down the details that they want to put out there. And then it never gets done because there's always a time that we can get better. But if we're always trying to get better but never actually executing, then it's just like an ongoing circle.
Yeah.
Of like just not getting stuff done.
Yeah, because I truly believe you only get better by doing so.
Yeah.
And getting back up and doing it again, and getting back up and doing it again.
Like, when you do it, you receive feedback.
Yeah.
Whether it be from like an audience, whether it be from your body, because if it's fitness, whether it be from like, I don't know, whatever it is that you're doing, you're gonna receive some type of feedback. And if you're not doing, then you're not gonna receive feedback. And that's something I have to tell myself a lot of the time, because I'm like, hello, you if you don't start now and if you don't keep going, then there's no way that in a couple of years from now you're just gonna wake up one day and be booming. Because there was no, like, you don't have anything to compare that to, that version of you to. And it's like, it's the reality. Like, perfectionism can literally just kill all dreams. All in all, like, what kind of message would we want to leave with everybody for this episode? Care a lot.
It's important to care.
Yeah. Move with intention towards everything that you do. But don't allow perfectionistic qualities to hold you back from doing things. And this is crazy because it's easier said than done. But one, I want to say don't label. Like, we have to stop labeling ourselves as perfectionists, because that in itself is a problem.
Yeah.
Because then, again, you leave no room for you to be anything other than a perfectionist. And if you don't necessarily consider yourself to be one, that's not a bad thing. Like, some people think it's like like they cherish that about themselves, and then it just makes us very rigid when we're like, yes, I'm a perfectionist and that's why my work is so great. No, it could really just be that you care. It could really just be like you're particular. Like just reframing our mindsets around even the words that we choose. Like we don't have to say that to really care. Or there, and like you said, there's no perfect, like there's nothing that's perfect.
Right.
Because you're gonna have some level of criticism to like so many things that you do, even the things that you like a lot, you're still gonna have some type of like bite back.
Yeah, and I think it's also healthy to challenge yourself and see it as that, as opposed to this needs to be perfect.
Right.
It's kind of like, let me see how far I could go with this. Let me see, but without the pressure of it being perfect. It's just like, let me see if I can surprise myself with this, or I know that I can get it to this caliber, and let's see how close I can get to that. You know, like I think internal challenges and stuff like that, personal challenges are healthy. And they're fun. Like make it fun.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like the moment you stressed about something, it's kind of like, should you even be doing this?
Yeah.
At this point, are you having fun with it?
Yeah.
For many things, like maybe not every single thing. Maybe there are certain things, like if you're working a job and you need to fulfill something for your boss or whatever it is, a PowerPoint, I think it's important to still add an element of joyfulness to it, like have fun with it, but don't beat yourself down about it.
Yeah.
Or up about it. Is it up or down?
Beat yourself up. Beat
about
yourself down. You could say both. I feel like people normally say beat yourself up.
Up, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll go with either one that you like to hear. Like whatever feels better to your ear, to our listeners. But that's our message for today. Long-winded again. But I hope that you guys I hope that you guys get the picture. I hope that this is helpful. Because I think that in this walk of life, like we're all just trying to learn, unlearn, figure out, and it's always good to just tap into different ideas. It's always good to just like try to figure out where something comes from, why we do certain things. Is it healthy or is it holding us back? And I hope that you guys got that from this episode and every other episode we did before this. Please let us know, like, give us feedback. Let us know if perfectionism is something that you feel like you struggle with, or something that you experience in very specific areas. Like, do you agree that it comes down to caring? Like, what are your thoughts? We love to hear you guys' feedback and what you think. And,
absolutely. So if you guys are watching this on YouTube, leave a comment down below. Make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and share a snippet that you enjoyed. Post it on socials and tag us at Message to You Podcast. If you guys are our Spotify and Apple Podcast listeners, we would love it if you guys rate our podcast. It would mean the world to us. And like Philly said, if you guys agree, disagree, or have any comments about it, leave the comments. I don't know. Can you comment on the Spotify stuff? Well, I guess when you leave a review, you can leave a comment.
Yeah.
Yes, it is greatly appreciated. And as always, we're happy to be here.
Literally.
I'm Jen. This is
Felicia.
And we're signing out.
Yeah.
Peace.
Have a good one, everyone.